Army launches civilian review of Fort Hood following Vanessa Guillen's killing. Click the link below to read the full related article and watch the full video coverage. The U.S. Army is assembling a panel of 4 civilian consultants to review the command climate and culture at Fort Hood in Texas, in the wake of the killing of SPC, Vanessa Guillen, Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy announced Friday. McCarthy announced the investigation following a meeting Friday with U.S. Representative Sylvia Garcia of Texas, who had demanded an independent investigation into Fort Hood's handling of the murder of Guillen, one of Garcia's constituents. Other reviews are underway, but this one takes the matter outside of Army hands by bringing in outside consultants. The consultants' names have not yet been made public. They are expected to spend 5 to 10 days on the base. It's not clear what the consultants could do regarding talking to civilians off base. While on base, they are expected to review previous command climate surveys, Inspector General reports, criminal military justice reports and the sexual harassment and sexual assault response programs at Fort Hood. Guillen, 20, was last seen in the parking lot of her barracks at Fort Hood on April 22, according to the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Command (CID). Her remains were found June 30, according to her family's attorney, Natalie Kawam. Guillen was bludgeoned to death with a hammer in the armory room where she worked. Her body was transported from the military installation by her killer, Kawam said, citing details the family learned during a meeting with Army investigators. SPC, Aaron Robinson, a 20-year-old soldier suspected in the disappearance of Guillen, killed himself after police confronted him in Heullynch, Texas, authorities said July 1. Texas Rangers arrested another civilian suspect in connection with the case, according to CID. Guillen was a small arms repairer assigned to Support Troop, Engineer Squadron, 3rd Cavalry Regiment. A private first class when she disappeared, she was promoted to specialist effective July 1, based on time in service, according to Fort Hood. Robinson was a combat engineer assigned to a troop, Engineer Squadron. At a news conference, Garcia said it would be up to Defense Secretary Mark Esper to make that decision and to make sure that the Department of Defense does its job, and does a full independent investigation. The purpose of this independent review is to determine whether the command climate and culture at Fort Hood and the surrounding military community reflects the Army's values including respect, inclusiveness and workplaces free from sexual harassment, and the commitment to diversity, according to a statement from the Army. Multiple reviews or investigations into Fort Hood now underway. CID and civilian law enforcement are investigating Guillen's death. Fort Hood is conducting an investigation in whether Guillen was sexually harassed. And an Army Inspector General investigation is assessing whether the climate fostered by Fort Hood commanders is supportive of reporting incidents of sexual harassment and sexual assault. Esper and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs General Mark Milley were questioned about Guillen's death during a congressional hearing on Thursday. Milley raised concerns that warning signs of serious trouble may have been missed. I suspect, although I don't know, that there were probably some missed signals, and one of the key lessons that we've learned in other situations is when we do get early warning, it's to take action and take action swiftly and appropriately, he said. On the related article, Vanessa Guillen bludgeoned to death on Army base, family attorney says. Vanessa Guillen was bludgeoned to death with a hammer in the armory room where she worked, an attorney for Guillen's family said on Thursday. Guillen's body was transported from the military installation by her killer, attorney Natalie Kawam told CNN. Citing details the family learned during a meeting with Army investigators on Wednesday night. The main suspect in disappearance was identified by officials on Thursday as SPC, Aaron David Robinson. Kawam said the family told her that Guillen had planned to file a harassment complaint against Robinson the day after she was killed, and that they believe Robinson became enraged when she told him that. Fort Hood officials said they were not aware of reports of sexual harassment involving Robinson, but the investigation was ongoing. Robinson, 20, killed himself on Wednesday after police confronted him in Heullynch, according to U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Command, which calls itself CID. He fled Fort Hood late on Tuesday. Robinson and Guillen, though co-workers, were located in different buildings. He was not in her line of command, Phelps said. Robinson was not in SID custody at the time he fled the installation. Phelps said investigators were looking into Robinson's interactions with Guillen. He said there was no credible information Guillen had been sexually harassed or assaulted. He said investigators had conducted more than 300 interviews in the case. Robinson, from Illinois, entered the Army in October 2017. Kawam said investigators told the family that Robinson called a woman he was involved with to help him dispose of Guillen's body after moving it outside the base. Texas Rangers also arrested a civilian suspect in connection with Guillen's disappearance, according to SID. The suspect has been identified as Cecily Ann Aguilar, the estranged wife of a former soldier from Fort Hood. She is in Bell County Jail awaiting civilian authorities to press charges, SID said. Guillen, 20, was last seen in the parking lot of her barracks at the Texas Army base on April 22, SID said. Senior members of SID Command met with Guillen's family on Wednesday, Phelps said. Before Guillen went missing, she told her family that she was being sexually harassed by one of her sergeants at Fort Hood, according to a website her family set up to promote the search. The sergeant wasn't identified. Suspect confronted early Wednesday. U.S. Marshals, Heullynch Police and the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force located the soldier suspected in Guillen's disappearance, SID said. He had left his Fort Hood post. The authorities confronted him walking along a commercial and residential thoroughfare on the northeast side of the city, a few miles from base. As officers attempted to make contact with the suspect displayed a weapon and discharged it toward himself. The suspect succumbed from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, the Heullynch Police Department said in a news release. On Wednesday, Guillen's sister Myra said she had met the soldier suspected in the disappearance of her sister. When I first went up to that base, that subject, I met him, not knowing that he had something to do with it. I felt something was telling me that he did something, and I wasn't wrong apparently, Myra Guillen said. And apparently now, he kills himself. Why? I don't know. But whoever is responsible has to pay, and we demand a congressional investigation, she added. This came just hours after investigators discovered on Tuesday the partial remains of a body near the Leon River in rural Bell County, where Heullynch is located. While authorities have not confirmed it, Guillen's family believes the remains belong to their missing loved one, they said at a news conference. Phelps said the remains have not been positively identified. The investigation into Guillen's disappearance is separate from another into her family's claim that she was sexually harassed. The remains were found in a shallow grave, and search operations were suspended, pending identification, said Tim Miller, the director and founder of Texas EquiSearch. Due to her time in service, Guillen was promoted to specialist on Wednesday, according to the Fort Hood website. Another soldier found dead. Authorities discovered the remains about 26 miles from the site where on June 19 investigators found the body of Private Second Class Gregory Weedle Morales, who went missing last year while driving in Heullynch. He was scheduled to be discharged within days of his disappearance, the Army said. It's unclear whether there's a connection between Guillen and Weedle Morales, but Army investigators say there is no credible information linking the cases. Foul play is also suspected in Weedle Morales' death, and the Army is offering a $25,000 reward for information. The Army, League of United Latin American Citizens and Houston rapper Baby Bash have pooled together a $55,000 reward for information on Guillen's disappearance. After Guillen went missing in April, her car keys, room key, identification card and wallet were found in an armory room where she was working that day. Our hearts are broken. We feel pain, frustration and devastation. This shouldn't have happened. We demand a congressional investigation. We demand the truth, Kawam said in a statement. If this could happen to Vanessa, this can happen to any one of our sisters, daughters and mothers. There's no reason why a young beautiful girl who joined the Army, to honorably serve our country, should be in a shallow grave near on our own turf. Click the link below to read the full related article and watch the full video coverage.